Say hi to your fan club on YouTube. This is the new definition of culture shock. Going from a slick twin-turbo Mustang to the 2016 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid. We'll also be looking at a Toyota Prius Hybrid. No more passing on the freeway for me. Along with culture shock, we get sticker shock. The base Prius runs around $25,000, but this was an upgraded one at $30,000. Then we have the technology package at $4,320, remote start at $499, and a performance package on a Prius. Can you believe that? At $3,100, includes things like forged alloy wheels, lowered springs, rear sway bar. Total tab was $38,749. Mileage claimed is 51 mpg in the city and 48 on the highway. We'll be talking about that a little bit later when we test it in the real world. But either way, the price of saving the planet at 38 grand seems to have gone up a bit. This Hyundai Hybrid isn't cheap either, starting at $30,100. Then we got a $4,500 luxury package. Then things like carpeted floor mats, first aid kit, all-weather floor mats, wheel locks. Really, this stuff should be standard. Total $35,765. With an EPA of 39 city, 43 on the highway. Again, we'll test this in the real world and see if it's realistic or not. This Hyundai is the new kid on the block, being a brand new 2016 model from the ground up. So we're going to test this one first, and we'll start by looking at the styling. Nothing dramatic here. Generic Asian. And you get a hybrid emblem here, so all your neighbors will know you love the planet. And another one from the front. One single dinky headlight on each side. We're going to take this out in a couple of hours and see how it works in the dark. And we're going to do that right now. From a distance of 100 feet, we got excellent light on low beam. High beams are extra bright. This is a distance of 300 feet. The bright lights light up the side of the building, and the low beams just barely reach out there. Overall, I'll rate the headlights excellent. Did a fantastic job. I've been driving the Sonata for a couple of days, and there is a feature that I find very annoying. Every time you start the car, you get this little jingle tune. And every time you turn it off, you get another one. I've gone through the owner's manual, the computer system, even called some people at the Hyundai dealer to see if I can make this music go away, because I don't like listening to it. But apparently, you can't get rid of it. If jingle tunes bother you, take note. We won't be hearing any chimes under the hood, just a smooth 154 horsepower 4-cylinder engine with the hybrid battery pack, putting out the total of 193 horsepower. Connected to a 6-speed automatic transmission. There's also a drive mode button for standard driving, eco, and sport. On a conventional Sonata, this is where the spare tire would be. On the hybrid, this is where the electric hardware is. So you don't get a spare tire. Instead, you get this little air pump kit, which is totally unacceptable if you're going out of town because you get a bad flat. It isn't going to help you. You need to buy a spare tire. Fortunately, there's a lot of room in the rear trunk for a spare. Just going to take up some luggage space, that's all. Since we're snooping around the car, we might as well look at the cabin. We've got a nice gauge cluster. Climate control is easy to use. Same with the radio and navigation system. A large glove box. It's larger if you take out this giant monster owner's manual. A large center console. A disconnect button for the auto dimming mirror. Thank you very much. The seats are very comfortable. More storage under here. Now, it's not fair to rate hybrids at 0 to 60 because these systems usually die out around 40 miles per hour and don't function very well on the freeway. It's a city car for low speeds, 0 to 40 miles per hour. It works best. And from start, this thing's got a lot of power. Hit 40 miles per hour in 5 seconds. On top of that, the torque output from the battery system is fantastic. Great throttle response. Nice brakes too. The steering doesn't have much feel, but it's responsive enough for any commuting you might be doing. There's a common aggravation in many Hyundai and Kia cars, and that's the way the dash reflects into the windshield at certain sun angles. Not serious, but it is very annoying at times. You're likely watching this video because you want to see what the fuel consumption figures are on this vehicle in the real world. Well, here's our first 50 miles, 26.3 mpg. However, if you notice, the temperature is 110 degrees. Hybrids don't work well in the heat. And number two, I wasn't doing anything to save gas. I was practically running it hard to see the lowest gas mileage I could get, passing, idling, so forth. So I think 26.3 is going to be the worst. Phase 2 is going to be normal driving, and I'm sure the figures will be a lot higher. We'll also be taking a long freeway trip, so stay tuned. This is the phase 2 of the fuel economy test. I did 3 things. Number 1, I left it in the eco mode because there's more than enough engine power not to have a concern. Number 2, I drove in the city where the hybrid system works best. And number 3, I drove at night where the temperature is a cooler 93 degrees versus the 110 degrees that we saw today. So what did I get? There it is, folks, 39.3 mpg. And this is how it's driving by the computer. 55% normal, 32% economical, and shame on me, at 13% aggressive. With a total driving trip of 101 miles, it shows I still have 481 miles to go. So it looks like we're going to take it out on a highway trip and check the freeway mileage as well. So stay tuned again. This is phase 3 of the fuel economy test. We're going to take this vehicle out on a nice highway trip, which is well suited for because it's a very smooth riding vehicle with low wind noise. And maybe we'll get a little water skiing in. I would say the Hyundai is not too happy with all this rain. It's trying to tell me something. I think we call that a warranty job. Good news, the rain stopped, the computer dried out, it's no longer beeping and malfunctioning. Excellent. Send me a trip to the dealer. So here's your highway mileage, 122 miles at 75 miles per hour plus 35.6. Keep in mind, hybrid systems usually shut down during freeway trips. So your mileage on a hybrid engine isn't going to be much different than a non-hybrid engine because the battery system isn't functioning. So this 36 mpg is about what I would expect. Your best mileage is going to be in the city, where the hybrid system assists the engine during acceleration. Here's my take on the Sonata. There are plenty of hybrids out there that offer good fuel economy, but if you need a large vehicle for towing lots of people and gear, and an engine powerful enough to handle the load, the Sonata is definitely worth a look. On the other hand, if you're looking for a hybrid that's more traditional, we have the Toyota test coming up. Now we're back to the 2015 Prius, and while there have been styling updates over the years, the basic shape still seems to remain the same. You won't recognize it for anything else. Under the hood is a 1.8 liter engine. That combined with battery power results in around 134 horsepower. It's hooked to a CVT automatic transmission, which normally I would hate, but actually it works fairly well with this tranny engine battery combination. You have buttons by the shift lever, total electric EV mode, eco mode, normal mode, and power mode. We'll discuss this later too. We get a nice modern looking cabin with excellent materials and workmanship. Room in the back for 2 full-size adults. Good storage room in the back, and there's a spare tire under there. Climate control system is very easy to use. Same with the audio navigation system up above. 2 large glove boxes. And a center console. These front bucket seats are very comfortable for long 400-mile trips. I did find one aggravating flaw in the cabin. The sun visors, while they do fold down, do not slide. So if you're driving and the sun's coming in through the side windows, you got a big gap like this, and your face is getting baked in the summertime. This is basically inexcusable, especially for a car company like Toyota, who's been making cars long enough to know better. Also, the shelf under the door collects dirt and mud. Gets all over your pants. We really don't need this either. The Prius comes with this fancy triple headlight system, so before we do our daytime test, we're going to take this out tonight and see how these perform. And we'll do that right now. Here we have the high beams from a distance of 100 feet. Excellent, lots of light. Now let's go to low beam. Bright, but a quick cutoff. It doesn't go very high. From a distance of 300 feet, the high beams are great. Lights up the whole side of that building down the road. Low beams, lights disappear in the pavement. Okay for slow city driving, but out in the country, you need to be putting on the high. If you want a Prius and your low beams ride this low, you might want to get with the dealer and see if they can raise them up a bit. If you read tests on other publications or YouTube videos, one thing the testers will usually point out is how slow the Prius is because of its 0 to 60 time in around 10 seconds. That doesn't mean anything. In city driving, you're really going over 40 miles per hour, so it's 0 to 40 that really counts. And with the torque of the battery and the horsepower of the engine, I got 0 to 40 in around 6 seconds, whether it was in the eco mode, power mode, or standard mode. That is more than adequate for city commuting. And the torque of the battery certainly helps throttle response. No, it's not a hot rod, but it's more than adequate for its intended purpose. Other testers have complained about the brake feel, but I really don't have a problem. Feels fine to me. The suspension does bounce around quite a bit on potholes and speed bumps. It's just something you have to get used to. I'm not sure if we need a performance package on a Prius, but if you order it, it certainly helps the handling and cornering ability. Actually, I found this to be quite nimble. As you can see, basically the Prius is a comfortable car to drive on the freeway. Unfortunately, if you run into rough pavement, you're getting a lot of bumping, groaning, and moaning noises coming into the cabin. I suspect it's the tires, but that's just a guesstimate on my part. But it is very annoying on long trips. Now it's time to talk about the claimed fuel economy on a Prius and the real world fuel economy on a Prius. If anyone tells you they're getting the 51 mpg city and 48 on the highway, chances are they're going to be in three categories. Type number one is the liar denier. They know they're really not getting it, but they paid a lot of money for the car, so they're never going to admit they're not. So there's no point in arguing with them. Number two are the knuckleheads. They look on this graph here, say they hit 50, maybe 45 mpg, maybe for 3-4 minutes at a time, so they figure they're getting their 45 to 50 miles per gallon. No, they're not. Then there are the rare few that really are getting 51 to 48 miles per gallon on the road, only because they're driving 30 miles per hour under the speed limit. You know that hypermilers I'm talking about. You're driving on the freeway at 75 miles per hour, and you're seeing this in your front bumper traveling around 50 miles per hour. And it doesn't do you good to honk your horn or scream because they're not going to move over and they're not going to speed up. Of course, driving this slow with a lot of other engines could get you some excellent gas mileage, but it's not realistic and it's just plain stupid. So forget the 51 mpg 48 highway. And you might notice if you read the reviews in car magazines and YouTube, the testers always tell you what it's supposed to get. They never actually tell you what they actually got, except that's what we do here. So what did I get? Before I answer that, let me tell you that hybrids are sensitive to weather, mainly heat. They do not like hot weather. Now when I drive these in the wintertime or in the fall or spring, I get around 41, 42 mpg. And so does every other tester that's actually done the gas mileage on these. Unfortunately, it's 105 to 108 degrees today and all week, so the mileage is going to naturally plummet. So here it is, 195.9 miles in mixed commuting, 36.4 miles per gallon. And that's about as good as it's going to get, unless it cools off. In cooler climates, as in where there is snow, I've seen the mileage creep up to around 42, 43 mpg. But that's about the max you're going to get in normal, realistic driving. Another mileage tip, and this is very important. If you replace the tires that came from the factory, you have to replace them with identical factory tires. If you put on some other conventional tires, your mileage will drop like an anvil. This rubber is designed specifically for the Toyota Prius, and this is what you need to be running on it all the time. While the Prius isn't really my cup of tea, actually for the 38 grand they want for this, I think I would have gotten that turbo Mustang we had at the beginning of the video. But if you like engineering, technology, and Toyota quality, this is definitely a car worth looking into. But I think the base $25,000 car offers a bit more economy than one that's loaded up like this, but as always, it's your choice. If you're looking for Toyota quality and economy at a slightly lower price, we have a video coming up on the Toyota Yaris. Just click on the link, and there you go.